Look who's back with us, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Merry Christmas to you, Governor. It's good to see you.
Merry Christmas to you too, Liz. Thank you for having me.
So what did you think of this? There was no debate, no hearings, Congress not reading the bill. Half of them did not physically showed up. They showed up by proxy. I mean, federal spending keeps going up and up. And now households, you know this, they've spent an extra $10,000 a year under Joe Biden. What do you think of all this?
Well, there's a couple of things that are really just disgusting. One is the process itself. These are people that had all year to work on the budget and didn't. And then they wait until the very last minute and pretend that it's a big emergency, that they've got to get it done because they got to go home for Christmas. The truth is, these are like some college frat boys that never studied, partied all semester, and then did an all-nighter right before the finals and can't imagine why the professors are ticked off with their failing grades. Well, the fact is, this is not how you run a government, but this is how this Congress has behaved. That's part of it. The second thing that's absolutely atrocious is the content of the bill. This thing has more pork in it than an Arkansas Razorback football game. I've never seen anything that is more disgraceful than a $1.7 trillion bill filled with all sorts of nonsense that has nothing to do with helping taxpayers get back on their feet financially. And the Republicans who voted for this ought to be ashamed of themselves. They should have stood tall, showed some spine. Instead, all they did was say, yeah, whatever you need, Chuck, we're there with you.
Yeah, you know, we're showing the pork now. We're also going to show House Minority, this is just a sample of some of the pork. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and Congressman Chip Roy, Governor, today they had some really fiery floor speeches against the spending. Watch this.
They cared so much about the people that Senator Leahy gets numerous projects named after himself. Because the people wanted that. Oh, Shelby gets something named after him, too. Oh, Speaker Pelosi. She gets a couple things named after her. Because the people are more important than the politics. Because that's what the people of America want right now.
Half this body's not even going to be here. And they're lying. They're lying on forms saying that they're voting by proxy for COVID, and it's a lie. And half this body's going to do it, you know it, and it's destroying this country. I'm not going to just sit here and roll over on this. This is going to continue.
They're really angry. And here's the thing. I mean, we understand that parts of the bill, they seem good. There's 300 new border agent funding, but then they cut back on the border later on. And Governor, there's an increase for you know, things like disaster aid and, you know, mental health issues. That's important stuff, but it's a fact that they have not passed budget bills on time for the last 26 years. They work less than half the time as the average American works. The last time they met their October 1st deadline was 1996. And Governor, we're seeing monuments to me that Kevin McCarthy pointed out. We've got a new Nancy Pelosi federal building in San Francisco, the new Nancy Pelosi fellowship program for the State Department, and more. So what is going on here? It's all in the dead of night kind of deal making in pork.
You know, if you make a big pot of stew, you can say there's a lot of good stuff in there. There's carrots and peas and there's some beef and there's some wonderful, wonderful ingredients. But if in the midst of the stew you put a teaspoonful of rat poison, you've ruined the stew. So all of these members of Congress who say, well, there's some good stuff in this bill, I'm not going to argue that, but there's poison in this bill. And I really felt like that what Chip Roy and Kevin McCarthy said needs to be said on the Senate floor, and I wish some of the Republicans, 18 of them, would have thought about how ridiculous it makes them look to vote for Chuck Schumer and this horrible bill. They might as well have taken their own little teaspoon, put some rat poison, and dumped it in there and said, yeah, some of it'll kill you, but there's some really good stuff in that pot of stew.
To your point, you know, they want to spend trillions of dollars in a bill that they didn't read as they demand details on the little tiny $600, you know, phone app transactions we do with like Venmo from the rest of us. And they want, you know, tens of thousands of new IRS agents to go after the little guy for this spending. I mean, there's breaking news on this, Governor. The IRS announced it will delay until next year this new $600 1099 reporting requirement for phone app transactions like Venmo. So taxpayers can better prepare. But, Governor, it's still going to happen in 2024.
Well, and 87,000 new IRS agents is included in that bill. Why do we need those guys? I mean, really, what is it they're going to do? They're not going after billionaires. There aren't that many billionaires to go after. What they're going to go after are all these just very low income taxpayers, and they're going to be just going after them for $100 here and $600 there.
Yep.
And it's going to just become even more ridiculous than our tax system already is. It's a disgrace, and this is the worst Christmas present that they could give us. Basically, Congress just gave us a lump of coal.
So the other thing, too, is, well, we wish we got coal and natural gas and oil in our stocking from this administration.
Yeah.
But, Governor, there's no amendments to keep in place Title 42 after President Biden is getting rid of it. He's got more than 300 executive actions to the weaken the border. He says the pandemic is still on, but he's getting rid of that pandemic border policy. We need your reaction to this. This new book by Christopher Whipple claims the president was furious about the border crisis he created to the point he was cursing behind the scenes. Do you believe that?
If it is, it'll be one of the first signs that he had some reality about what was going on at the border. He seems to be oblivious to it, as does his entire administration and the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, who should be fired, if not impeached. The fact is, this is a border that's wide open. Joe Biden has been inattentive. He assigned Kamala Harris to look after it. She finally went down, took a quick look, didn't do anything. Joe Biden still hasn't been there. And he just says he's got more important things to do. Well, tell that to the people along the border, both in Texas and Arizona. They think it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so to your point, if he is so upset about it, why didn't he just go to the border? And why does he refuse to take questions like he did yesterday? He wouldn't take questions at the end of his Christmas address. You're going to see that, and you're going to see Senator Lindsey Graham weighing in. Watch this.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and all the best in the new year. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you think the southern border is secure?
He's done nothing to fix the problem. He's never been to the border. It is so unconscionable for him not to go to the border and listen to the agents and people trying to control the border, what life is like along our southern border. The fact that he doesn't go shows to me he's disconnected and he doesn't give a damn. Yeah, he doesn't have to drop F-bombs in the White House.
We don't even have
Get
the
your
November
ass out of
numbers
the White
yet.
House and go to the border.
But why didn't Senator Lindsey Graham and the GOP senators fight to keep that Title 42 amendment in place, Governor?
That's a great question. You know, and frankly, I don't care that much whether Joe Biden actually physically and personally goes to the border. What I care about is that he delegates somebody that would actually do something to seal that border and pretend that America is a sovereign country and we're not just an open door for any and everybody to come through, and we put more restrictions on American citizens than we do illegal immigrants. That's what I'd like to see him do.
Governor Huckabee, again, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Happy holidays, everybody. It's good to see you, Governor.
Thanks. Merry Christmas, Liz.
Thanks for spending time with us. Okay.